And we today, I hope you guys like today's episode. We have a special guest. Her name is Rita Madden Esquire. She's an attorney. She specializes in a lot of things, and I hope you guys can learn some things from her today. I think we had a great interview with her. I just love when people know what they're talking about. Nothing better than it.
Yeah.
So what you got going on, Drake?
I agree. Alicia is like one of them people that is like a fact checker. Let me tell you something. Facts need to be on 101% because she finna call you out on it.
No, not with Rita.
I mean, I'm just saying in general. I'm not talking about with her.
I do. You know, I question like when I see stuff on.
That's good. I think that as a culture, we have grown. Like majority of the people have like, especially when it comes to online stuff, we have just really become people that just like
clickbait,
skim it and keep going. First of all, let me just say that the number one company for headlines is Boss Up. Boss Up with these, they headlines be hitting.
Ain't nobody saying them on the reads. Yeah, they be. I'm like, come guzzling smithereens. I'm like, dang. So today was day 3 of the state being back open. I really haven't noticed anything different. I haven't gone anywhere. I have driven. I haven't really seen anything. Have you seen
traffic? Is pretty much the same. I've just been seeing stuff online. Like the parks, of course, are still busy and thick. Nail salons are full. Every chair full in the nail salon. People get mad because the line is long for the nail salon. I'm like, what did you think?
Yeah, well, see, from my understanding, a lot of nail salons were doing appointment only. So that's what they should have been doing. So people don't have to be in line. So if I'm growing my own onions right now, I'm going to grow some cauliflower, some romaine lettuce.
So are you growing? So here's the thing. I actually was thinking about that today, actually. So are you growing it on the patio or are you growing it in the ground?
No, on the patio. So I was growing my spinach on the patio. Unfortunately, when I moved, though, I had to plant inside for too long and it died. And it was so beautiful. Oh, my God. I didn't even get to harvest, but I'm putting it on the patio. I don't really have any yard. I don't think I have the right to do that with the HOA. But it's easy to just put in a pot. And so the racking system that I'm getting, it has a cover to where it gets enough sunlight and it won't get damaged by too much heavy rain. So I could just kind of control what goes with it. So I'm gonna have everything. I'm growing oregano. I'm gonna start growing.
I want to see. Because I want to grow my own stuff too.
It's actually really easy. So like cauliflower, lettuce, and onions, all you need is the head that comes on it when you buy it from the store. And like for me, I put the onions. I'll show you a picture. But with the onions, I just put it in a jar. I used up some jelly. I washed the jar out and then I put it in there. I'll show you this picture.
So that's okay. So wait, where did you get that root from?
From when I bought it from the store. I just bought it because I needed it for a recipe. And but whenever I buy onions like that, some of it always die because I don't get to use all of it. So I'm like, let me just grow it myself so I don't waste no money.
Anything quarantine has taught me is to grow your own shit, okay?
Yeah, or DIY everything, right? For real.
Yeah.
So we got a shop talk.
Yes, you go first.
You know what's so fun? I really don't have a lot to share. I do, and I hope I don't sound foolish, but I'm kind of getting tired of Azriel Clary. And that's one of the girls who was one of R. Kelly's victims.
What about Azriel?
I just don't. She's starting to get on my nerve. You know what? This is the thing.
She been getting on my nerve. She was funny to me though, but she been getting on my nerve.
I know that her mind isn't necessarily right because of the stuff she's been through, but I don't know if I like how she's going about this whole. I don't know what I expect from her, but I don't. What I'm seeing for her, it seems a little bit more self-serving than like self-benefiting. Does that make sense? It's like all this like, oh, I'm rapping. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing it. And it's okay to do that, obviously. But I just don't, something about it is not serious to me. And I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I think that she has a mental issue.
Yeah.
I don't never like to speak on it too much. But I do think that it'd be so funny. Like her singing videos.
And she can sing, but the videos don't be good. I just want her to get the help she deserves because I don't think that I don't even know what I can say. And that's why I say I feel kind of bad saying that she's getting on my nerves, but I want to see her in a healthy situation, and I don't know if she's getting that.
How you feel about these guys getting haircuts from their wives and kids?
I think that's kind of cool. This is my thing. This has always been my motto. If somebody can do it, so can I. If somebody had to learn how to do it, so can I. I can't do everything myself. I know how to wash my hair, braid my hair, straighten it out and all that. And once I learned how to do that, I stopped going to the salon. Now, when I want a certain look and a certain amount of longevity, I will go to a salon, but there is no reason I can't do what they doing. Just like when I mentioned like doing my own pedicures, it's just some stuff I feel like I think that's cool. I actually offered to line up my boyfriend's hair and he just gave me a hard no. So maybe it's just not for everybody.
I definitely consider, I go back and forth with doing my own haircut, my own fade. I just want to make sure that the barbershops are open when I do feel like that it's time for me to test it out, just in case I fuck some shit up.
Yeah, fade is a little different now. Line up, okay.
But well, because I watch a lot of hair tutorials anyway, and then I think that for me, I think I have an upper hand just because I'm good at blending. Now, the only thing about it, I'm not familiar with like the guards that go on.
Yeah, it's like a science. That's something that you got to learn though. It's just I don't think you could just get some clippers and be like, today I'm getting fade.
No, for sure. But I will just continue to look like this until I'm able to sit in a barber chair. When Keisha lands bottoms, honestly though, for real, I might break quarantine and get a haircut for my birthday if we still heavily locked down like this. Which I'm pretty sure we are.
I don't think Georgia will be. Because you think Kemp just gonna backslide and be like, all right, back to lockdown? He probably would, honestly, if the cases get that bad. My thing is, I feel like I don't really have a problem with things being open with limitations. I just think that if that was the case, we should have did this in the beginning. And on top of that, they should have been like, remember when Janae was talking about how in South Korea, they were not really closing things, but they were taking temperatures. They were tracing people's paths if they had the virus, where they got it from, so they could isolate it. But here, they're just like, all right, just stay in the house. So now we don't know how people got it, who they were around. And now you want us to go out and slowly reopen back up. But I think that it's just backwards. We should have been did this.
Yeah. I don't know what we should have did, to be honest, because I'm scared. Like I feel like the same way. Like we was in the house. Okay, I get it. I think that them putting us in the house obviously was trying to help us get rid of it by quarantine, but people aren't quarantined the right way. And I think partially the reason of that is because of the limitations of what the businesses they have that they left open. Like I personally don't consider a lot of the stuff that they left open essential, but that's not my business and it's not me.
They kind of left it up to the business owner to determine if they're essential.
Yeah, but I just feel like if anything, we should have left gas stations, because people do still have to work, so they have to travel. So I think that gas stations and grocery stores and pharmacies and like drugstores and stuff. Other than that, it shouldn't have been open.
Yeah,
and that's just me.
Only some because states were doing that, and Georgia was just like,
yeah, like I don't understand what the purpose of I understand maybe liquor stores, whatever, but I don't understand the restaurants, and I understand everybody don't have the space to cook, but it's ways around that at the grocery store. I just feel like we just got lazy.
Yeah, I feel like,
and it's just too much. Like I don't know, we have too much privilege. Yeah, people don't like rules, and we have too much privilege during this time. And I feel like if those were the only things that were open, we would be probably in a better situation. But since we had too much leeway, like they were telling us the parks were open, this and this and that, like we didn't have extra strict rules for that. Then they were implementing like curfews that they weren't using.
Nope.
Like ever. They just said it out their mouth, and then nobody was getting penalized for doing it and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, Canada, if you break quarantine or break the curfew, they charging you like, I think the fine was like $2,700.
I think it's fair. You're absolutely right. You're right. I think they weren't strict enough, and people don't like being told what to do. That's America for you.
If that's the case, should people stay outside?
Yeah, but I do think that the people who have stayed at home have helped lessen the spread, but it doesn't really help a lot when people are out there just doing what they want to do and not caring. So, and I even saw a video today. There was a picture of a bunch of people at Piedmont, and somebody said it was somebody in that video that had just beat coronavirus, and they were out there.
So, and I'm going to send you the exact video.
I seen it. I seen the video. I just didn't know who the person was. They said the person had openly talked about having coronavirus, and now they're back out in public without any people.
Video in the bed, mind you, we know him because and I don't mean to put his business out there, but he did it. But he's a well-known promoter in the Black LGBT community. He promotes like parties and clubs. So he has like nights at certain clubs or whatever. But he's like well known. So the fact that you put that on social media and you just, got out of the hospital not even a full week ago and you outside.
Yeah, and they haven't proven on whether or not people can get it or not if they've already had it. So we don't know. He could get it again, and it might not be as positive as an outcome.
Anywho, can we change subject? This shit gonna irritate the fuck out of me. I'm sorry. People just so irresponsible, and I understand a lot of people don't care about dying or they don't care about life or whatever, which is understandable. But I ain't one of them people.
Yeah,
I enjoy my life. As long as I'm gonna be on this earth, I want to at least attempt to be as safe as possible, as comfortable as possible. Like you never know what. Child.
Yeah, it's okay. I understand. I don't really have anything else for Shot Talk. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking forward to the John P. Key versus Hezekiah Walker song off tonight. I'm ready for God to come through and take over in my ministry.
Okay. I might have to tune into that.
Grateful.
This year celebrates the 25th anniversary of the movie Friday. Girl, we old.
25?
25 years. So this is just posted an hour ago.
How old was that? 25 years ago.
We was 5 years old when that movie came out. I remember it too.
No, I'm 31.
Okay, you was
6.
Okay, what?
I was this many. Dang, that's crazy. I was in kindergarten?
Years, girl. Yes, I was in kindergarten. I was at Conley Hills Elementary School.
I was at Ragsdale, baby, over there on the west side. So today we have a special guest. We actually kind of, I don't know, how do we say, we didn't grow up together, but we kind of like known each other for at least me and Draco definitely knew you all of our adult life.
All of our work life. We weren't even adults. We was still
I know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because I was 17? Yeah.
No,
so,
we were 16.
No, you were 16. I was 17 when I got hired. I got hired after my 17th birthday. So anyway,
still in high school though, right?
Yeah, we were still in high school. Okay. So me and Draco met Rita when we were working at this park. Do you care what we say?
Okay.
Okay, so we all used to work at Six Flags together, and I love whenever I'm with Rita or if I see her somewhere, I always tell people that she fired me for my first job.
It wasn't me though.
Yeah,
I was just the messenger.
She was the messenger. I lost my job working at Six Flags for nothing. I was so hurt about that, but and it was so I was like, dang, and it's Rita that's got to tell me. And I knew you rocked with me, and I knew it wasn't personal, but I was like, dang, it couldn't be
that. Was the one part of that job that I hated was like firing people because it's just like this shit's stupid. Most of the time it was something stupid.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
it definitely was.
Teenagers, like what the hell y'all expect? But
to be totally honest, I still don't know why I got fired, but we ain't even about that. I don't let that go, but I really was ready to fight about that.
Rita, we came a long way from ESO.
Okay? Yes.
Listen, we just have fun. So from there, obviously we all moved us. You actually had a big grown-up folks job at that time, and you weren't even out of school yet.
Who, me?
Yeah. I mean,
I think I was at Georgia Southern because I moved so I started off in Rides when I was 16, but then as soon as I turned 18, somebody was like, oh, you can work in the office. So I think my supervisor was pissing me off. So when the next season came around, I was like, I'm going to apply to work in human resources. I don't know what that is, but I know what's inside. So they actually made me like a trainer. And so I was like 18, but I was still in high school because my birthday early. So I was still a senior in high school and I was training like new hires. Mm-hmm. And then it was easy money, easy work. So when I went off to college, Georgia Southern, I would come home on the weekends, work the summertime. And then when I went to law school, I still kept just working. And yeah.
Let me tell you, getting a job that easy in HR is kind of fire because people really have a hard time getting into that area.
Yeah. And so I had like 10 years HR experience. Like
that's great. That's real experience though. So it's like I just when I was working at Six, I just looked at ESO as like everybody in here must have got a degree to do this. Like it's like top dog. But now
you know what's so crazy though? Never mind. I probably can't talk about that on, but
put in the little chat over.
Oh, I could put in there. But so I'll be running into him all the time. And I'm like, I can't even believe that you were somebody.
Yeah, I just got. Yes. I still be saying him too. Yeah, okay. Because I was like his supervisor. That was my little boo.
But let people know like what you do, where you from. I guess your name, because I ain't really, you know what I'm saying.
Oh yes. So yes, I'm Rita. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I was born in Piedmont Hospital. My mama had insurance and so like,
Piedmont.
yeah. So my older brother was born in Grady and he almost died. So my mama learned her lesson. So me and my little brother were born at Piedmont.
Okay. That's
So
a big
but my
she didn't go to Georgia Baptist?
No. My parents are actually immigrated to Atlanta from Africa, from Ghana, like 2 years before I was born. So yeah, so a lot of what stuff, was just people telling them to go here, go there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was born and raised in Atlanta. I currently am an attorney. I've been a practicing attorney for 10 years.
Let me see. I had Googled you. I'll tell you how long it's been.
Oh shit!
Let me tell you something.
What did the Google
Let me tell you
say?
something about Alicia.
Since 2009, that was your year of admission from University.
Yes, from the state bar. So so I graduated law school 2008, but I became a licensed attorney in 2009, and so I've been practicing since then. My first job was working at like a small law firm doing divorce, wills, all kinds of pretty much everything. But
that's
they weren't
like
paying me
HR.
enough. Yeah, it was yeah. And so they weren't paying me enough. And then I got pregnant and I was like, this ain't gonna cut it. So luckily I applied for a job with Fulton County government and happened to get it. And so I've been doing that ever since. So initially my first position was, it's called a dependency attorney. So basically kids that are in defects custody, their parents, I used to represent them to try to get their kids back. At home.
Ooh,
and obviously it's for a variety of reasons, drugs, homelessness, mental health. So, my job would be to advocate for the parents to help them get their lives together so that they could get their children back with them. So I did that for 7 years up until last March. I just needed a change of scenery because that was draining.
I can imagine.
Yeah, just dealing with it and I wouldn't really bring it home. It'd be a couple of cases where you'd be like, dang, this is sad. But it was just, it was the same type of cases, drugs, mental health, homeless, like just this, it'd be different. The facts would be different, but it'd be pretty much be the same type of situations.
Yeah.
So I work at a juvenile courthouse. That's where I've been with Fulton County. And so a job came open to be a special education attorney. So I applied for that and I got that job. So that's what I do now is I represent children who have special education in schools to make sure that the schools are following the law. There's lots of, I didn't even know it till I started doing it. There are lots of federal laws about if you have ADHD, what the school must do to accommodate you, or if you take tests slowly, things that they have to do to, give you extra time and give you breaks. So there's lots of laws that schools are supposed to follow that unfortunately they do not. And
I
so
didn't even know that was a thing. And maybe because I'm not special needs, but I need a little extra time on my ITBS test.
So, and it's stuff like that. Like, it could be, you could have an emotional learning disability, it's all kinds of stuff. But so if you qualify for it, then you're in special education and then they have to follow the law. So, and it's so sad, unfortunately, with our APS and Fulton County schools, 9 times out of 10, they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. So my job is to come in there and basically strong arm them and force them to follow the law.
Really? Now, who brings those type of cases to your attention? Is it the parent?
So it's through juvenile court. So it's any child that's connected already with the court. So if the child is in defects custody and they have an open case, or if the child has a delinquent open case for something, and then they discover that they're having educational issues, then the judge will appoint me to the case. So it's only kids that already have some sort of involvement with the courthouse.
I never think about stuff being that deep when it comes to kids in school because I always wondered, like, how do you determine if somebody is, should they go to a different class or whatever? But I just
how it happens.
Yeah.
A lot of times
there was something that was. Yeah, I thought it was something that like the parent would be like, okay, they need to blah blah blah.
So usually,
think about the kids we went to
what
school
it is,
with.
the parent will. And sometimes they probably needed it, but if they didn't have that parent, because a lot of times it's the parent that's like, my child ain't picking up, or I know they're smart, but it's not reflecting. So they'll ask the school to evaluate them. And a lot of times them schools, because it's all money, so them schools be like, no, they fine, little Johnny okay.
That's
so
sad.
Usually if they get an attorney to say, nope, this child needs evaluation, then it'll happen. But most of the time, if the parent don't bring it up, or you have a good teacher that'll notice it and say this child need to be evaluated, a a lot of them kids slip under the crack. And
these are kids who are already connected to the court. So think about the ones who not, and they just out there struggling. And you thinking they have behavior disorders, but it's really deeper than that.
It is, and like these kids, so if you have special education, like they can't be suspending you all the time, they can't just be putting you out the class, like all that stuff. But if you don't have special education, the schools can pretty much do whatever they want with you.
Really?
And a lot of them kids end up just graduating because they get socially promoted to the next grade and the next grade. And then you gotta think these folks out here in the streets chilling. Like
that makes sense.
You would never know.
But
that makes sense.
Did you see the video that was going around I think last week, of the lady from Alabama who was in court, and she was basically advocating for like, I don't know what was the scenario behind it, but I just know that she was talking about representing like the kids who were having issues at home as far as being raped and all type of stuff happening. And then
it was a white lady, right?
Yeah, you saw it.
No, I did not see that.
And she went out. She was just basically saying that she felt as if the system was overlooking Black and brown kids in those situations. And she said that anytime they were having behavior issues, they would put them out in the hallway or just suspend them, like you were saying, instead of actually figuring out what was going on with them. And she was just saying how she wasn't going to give up on them. And she was going to make it her point to help save those kids.
You know what's sad? I think about teachers that, at least in my in the schools I went to, there were teachers who cared about us, but there were more teachers who didn't care than did. So it's almost like those teachers who cared, they kind of like, you know what, what's the point? Because ain't nobody listen to me. They probably think I'm taking my job too seriously. They care
and they administrate like the principal don't care. And it's like, what can they do? They afraid they might lose their job if they speak up, or it's real. And I didn't realize till I started doing this work we know the education system is messed up, but I didn't realize how bad it was. It's just like, damn, y'all just be intentionally breaking the law. Like, and these are kids. Like, you wouldn't want nobody doing this to your kid. Why would you do this to somebody else?
But they feel like that's not my problem. That's their problem. I saw a comment from this. So somebody made a TikTok about how kids are going to be when they go back to school, basically saying they can't spell, they can't read. And this girl was like, I don't get paid to teach them. I'm like, you don't get paid to be a parent?
The parent was saying that?
Yeah, saying she's not teaching her kid because she don't get paid to do that. I'm like, this is disgusting. When you was working in a dependency court, how did you like keep from taking that stuff on? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like my mind will be fried every day dealing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think because I was pregnant when I got the job and started the job, and then I had Marley, and so because when they had to train me, so I didn't really get into it until actually I had a baby. So I thought I would feel like, dang, I actually have a child and I see people beating kids, raping kids. But I don't know. I was really just able to, I guess, because I knew I was going home to my baby at night that, I knew where she was.
What supposed to be doing.
She was safe, so I wouldn't take it. But there were a couple of cases where, like, it was this lady beat her child. She was like 4 and then put her in a hot bathtub. So the baby had like, that was one of them cases where like I went home and I was just like,
and you have to like defend her.
Yeah. So a lot of times my defense isn't this baby need to go to mama. Is okay, we need to keep the baby in the family, let her go to grandmama, let her go to auntie, and not these strange white foster parents that just want some cute black baby.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times it might not be like, okay, let the baby go home, but just keep the baby within the family. So but she actually ended up getting that baby back. Like, she did parenting classes and went through a lot of counseling herself because, through it all, she realized that she had a whole bunch of trauma from her childhood. And it was a mess.
That's usually where it starts, though, because I think that we, as a Black community, have normalized that type of stuff. As far
as crazy.
Kids and, like, I'm a blah, 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 blah. And so, even, and I think that amongst us, like when we say stuff like that to each other, it ain't really a shock. Not as far as how they went, but just in general, like, I whooped my child because blah blah blah. But even me watching the episode of Kardashians when say he was gonna beat the kid and they flipped out.
I
was just like, he knew what was going on because he's from Atlanta, so he knows what's going on.
So he see them like, kids bad as hell.
Oh my God!
Like, you can't just beat on the damn
the nanny or whoever.
You can't just bite her.
And what else is gonna work?
And look, they were talking about it like it was funny. So he was like, if she said that to me, I would have beat her.
And they were
They were appalled. They were like,
hurt. Like, I watched that clip the other day just on Instagram, and Courtney was like, "What the fuck?"
So what do you think is gonna fix it? I'm trying to understand. Like, you think they're gonna grow out of this? They just gonna be grown brats.
Listen, they gonna let them grow up like that, and then they gonna end up having to put them in some type of therapy. That's how your kids grow up and be doing some weird shit. But no shade, but
no, you're right. And look, mind you, Courtney said that raising her kids is her job, and we can see why.
I don't know. I don't want to say I don't believe in spankings now.
It's a level though.
It's a level to it. I do believe in extra discipline in your child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your child don't need. You need to make sure they understand that ain't it. And if you can't understand from me, we're gonna get you some help now. Let's get this situated now. That's what my sister did. My sister put my niece in therapy when she was in 7th grade because she was having terrible, like, middle child syndrome. That's what I was calling it, because she used to just be destructive.
But at least she was smart enough to say, you know what, I'm not gonna beat it out of her. You know, like, that ain't gonna work. Let me get her.
Yeah, she definitely had to take her to therapy because it was getting really bad.
Think about it. Imagine if all these kids had those kind of options though, because it's really sad. And I try to talk when I talk to people who are white or they're from a different kind of like neighborhood or lifestyle as me. It's easy to be like, oh, them bad ghetto kids. But it's like some of these people actually make it out and they look back and they realize the things that they could not control. But if everybody had the resource to go to therapy or a parent or somebody who cared about them, it's just imagine how different things would be. Because it's even when I think about so a lot of my teachers from high school and elementary school was in that big cheating scandal that happened with APS. And they was cheating because they needed the school to look better so they can get more funding. And all this is like a rabbit hole. It's like all this. And so a lot of the teachers that was involved knew what was happening, but they were scared to speak up because they didn't want to lose their job and they was getting threatened, all this other stuff. And it's like they trying to do all that to make the school look good, but it's really bigger than a test score. The kids ain't dumb. They just not being challenged. They don't have the help they need. Like the school is like daycare to the parents. They just like, all right, just go on to school. They're gonna do the work. They ain't teach you how to do that. You don't know how to spell your name. Right. You named her. When you switch fields, like, do you have to, like, how do you learn all those laws? Like, how do you even prepare to change industries like that?
So, yeah, and that's the thing about being a lawyer is law school don't teach you how to do that at all. Like, it just teaches you how to think, like how to be analytical, how to critically think. But, yeah, most of it is just trial and error. You get into it. Obviously, if you are, you read up on the law so that, I personally don't like going to court sounding or looking stupid. So I always make sure I read a lot. But a lot of it is just watching other people. So a lot of your training is doing court observation. I always tell people, like, especially young lawyers, that one of the best ways to learn how to be a lawyer is to watch a bad one. And so that will kind of teach you, like
on TV?
Well, or even in person. Just go in the courthouse. And
I learned like that too, though, by watching. I had this discussion the other day because I was telling Alicia about one of our mutual friends that were making some really dumb decisions with their spending habits recently because they got on a new job, I guess you can call it, and child, they was buying all type of bullshit. When I watched it, I was like, I'm opening me a savings account right now.
See, yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. It was just bad, but I learned like that too. I have to watch people. I watch what not to do, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just do this because I can already. And the thing is, I can just see it going bad. I'm just like,
Let me make sure I don't do that.
You can already see where it's headed. Yep.
Have you ever had a moment in front of the judge where it was something that you did not know and you was kind of like embarrassed? Because it seems like all lawyers to me, I just look at them all like, okay, I know they're gonna fight the battle, but it might be some out there who just like, all right, it's my first day. Let's see what happens.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's probably my first job because I was like fresh out. And so they wanted me to go. Most of the work I used to do was just like preparing the paperwork and like drafting stuff to be filed. But my boss was like, yeah, you need to start, getting your feet wet and getting in the courtroom. And so I originally went to law school to be a criminal lawyer. That was since high school. That's what I wanted to do. Then when I went to law school my first year, I took criminal law and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want nobody's life on my, their freedom or their life. Because my thing is like, what if I get it wrong? Or what, just either way,
you just never know.
So I was like, I don't want to ever be in a courtroom. I just want to do transactional work, like entertainment law, contracts, that type. I don't ever want to be in court. But so when I got out of law school, ironically, 2008 was when George Bush messed up the country and we were in a recession. So all these law firms that had offered jobs to people had to take them back because they were laying off people. It was bad. So I just took the first job that I was offered, and it happened to be a job where they did litigation, which is like going in the courtroom. And so they wanted me to represent our client she was trying to get a restraining order against her ex-husband or baby daddy. I can't remember which one, but her ex-husband. And so yeah, I prepared. I had typed up questions, but you can never really predict what's going to happen, especially from the other side. And so I think at a certain point I was just making stuff up, like I wasn't lying, but the strategy had went out the window, and so I was just winging it. And to this day I just feel like that judge probably looked at me like, girl, what? Well, I'm sure she could tell I was new. I always look young, so they always assume I'm like 18 or fresh out of school anyway.
Look at this intern.
Yeah, so I think that's how she looked at me. But I can't remember exactly, but I just know that, I think we ended up getting, because they had somebody with me. It wasn't just me. So, she ended up having to pick up the load and be like, girl, just sit down. I got this.
But did the client, were they mad at you, or like, how did they feel?
No, I don't think she could. I don't even think our client could tell that anything was really wrong. But
that restraining order.
Yeah, she still got the restraining order. So I think she was happy either way. But I just know, to me, I was like, this was horrible. And I'm afraid to ever go in the courtroom again.
Wait, so in law school, do y'all have, obviously I'm sure you do mock trials, but like what kind of experience do you get in front of the judge before that?
So yeah, no, you don't even have to do, I think there was like in your first year, they have this one mock trial competition that everybody has to, no, it's actually moot court. It's not even mock trial, but those things are like, you can just join it. It's not required. So it's not even something you would have to do. So if you didn't participate in that in school, then yeah, you just figuring it out as you doing it.
That's like most jobs. It's like, okay, so when do I learn how to do the job I'm gonna do?
And then the crazy part with our job, people pay people thousands of dollars to go to court from them, and they don't know if this person gonna get it. They don't know if they know what they doing. I just gave you $5,000. Like,
yeah. That's interesting.
It's
crazy. That's the reason why I haven't got a therapist for myself. I ain't paying out these folks all these money. I don't even know
if it's gonna be good or
yeah. Well, I went through that. I had a therapist that I did not like, but you know what? I actually tried to get a therapist I knew had a good history, but she wasn't available, so they gave me somebody else that was there, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll take it. That was the worst decision I could have made. Dang. So I'm only open to referrals now at this point for therapists.
I feel like with therapists too, a lot of it is trial. You just gotta go see if y'all mesh, because even somebody they might refer, they might have a good connection with them, but you may not feel it with
Do you think like and it's just a question I just always wondered, like, do you think that success as a lawyer depends on like your relationship with a judge? Like, does that make sense?
So I feel like it matters. So in my court, I work at the courthouse, so of course I know all of the judges that are there. I'm assigned to particular my last job, I was assigned to two particular courtrooms. So I would only deal with those judges. And it would be funny to see, like, sometimes people will hire outside attorneys, and then, they don't normally practice in there. So they come in there thinking they about to just kill shit. And I used to be like, you don't even, because I know how this judge thinks. I know what pisses them off. I know. So it's not necessarily the relationship with the judge that helps you, but it's just you kind of learn how they are, because every judge is different.
It's like y'all coworkers.
Yeah. And I know this particular judge, he don't know the law, so it don't matter how many copies you print for him, he's still gonna get it wrong, so
really? That's
that I feel like makes a difference.
And then
I always tell people now, when people ask me for a referral, like I need a lawyer, I'm always like, well, what county did the case happen? And then I always will go to people I know that practice in that county, because like they're probably familiar with the judges and know what works and what doesn't.
You Draco, I don't know if you remember, but I actually consulted with Rita when I went to court for Sandy. I was like,
Sandy.
I know, rest in peace. I was like, I know people probably ask her law questions all the time, but look, what should I do? And I filed my lawsuit. I went to court.
Yeah, you would. I don't think did I ever see the video?
I seen the link. I got it. I got it unrecorded, and it's on my Google Drive. But yes, that's so funny. That I don't think I know any other attorneys. Maybe I do.
I have clients that are attorneys.
Oh, do you? I might know some of them. There's a lot of them.
I have a client who has an actual law firm, actually.
Oh.
She got it's a family business though. Like I heard lawyers that work under the company are like her brothers.
Oh wow.
Like maybe two of them. I think like the other three, because I've had to do like a company shoot with them. That's the only reason why I know.
Okay.
And I do all their holiday parties and stuff. That's my favorite clients. Listen, they sing gifts.
They get lit. Lawyers get lit.
They get lit. They sing gifts. They Christmas time they give you a little bonus.
Since you said you work for the state, or did you say government? I know it's the same.
No, it's the county.
The county, okay. So do you get assigned cases, or can people just like find you and be like, hey, can you help me?
No, so I get assigned cases just because I'm an employee of the courthouse, and so we have like a whole unit. So it's like I have 2 other coworkers, so it's like 3 of us, and so we get assigned cases.
Do you ever feel like bogged down with that since you can't really control what you get?
So sort of, but I will say when I was doing the defects type work, definitely yes, because we would get cases like twice a week. Is kids getting taken every day by defects, so we would constantly be getting cases. And like with that one, it was, since I'm assigned to a courtroom, I have no control over like, dang, I don't want to represent this lady. She seemed like a piece of shit, but it came to my courtroom, so I got to take it. So. Yeah. But yeah, it would get kind of intense a little bit, but I find I'm good with like time management, so I would always find a way to manage.
You're a boss.
When you get people like that, who you do feel that about, do you think that for the most part, if you have a positive attitude about it, that can change?
Yes. And a lot of times I would take some of those, because a lot of times those mothers would be younger than me. So I would kind of like, it's still some of them to this day that will still text me, call me, like, so I would kind of treat them like, not like big sister, but just, because a lot of times they don't know better. Yeah. It's stuff that they've seen, just young and dumb. And so I would try to just teach them little stuff like, okay, you have had 4 babies by this man and he still ain't shit. Let's not have another one. Like, just.
You heard of the pet.
Like, yeah, like, have you ever heard of getting it twisted? So yeah, I would just have to like just treat it like that. But yeah, or just try to make the best. I'm always one of those people that looks for silver linings anyway. So I would just try to find something to like, okay, this is one.
Right? As an attorney, it's like, all right.
Yeah, like this is the redeeming quality you got. Let's focus on this and like figure out how that can help you.
Do you think that impacted like how you are as a parent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking out for certain stuff. Like, I know my rights.
Yeah. I mean, and even because it was times when like I dropped Marley when she was a baby, and a lot of times my cases would be baby fell off the bed. We going to Hugh Spalding, and the people at Hugh Spalding, because you are poor and black, looking at you like, oh, you must have beat this baby. Mm-hmm. And so I would be afraid to even take Marley to like the hospital or urgent care. But they, would treat me differently because I have insurance, unfortunately. Like that's just the way
I mean, it's not.
But yeah, a lot of like stuff I would see at work would teach me just like, and these are things I won't tell medical professionals, because once you are involved in the defect system, ain't no such thing as privacy. Like you got to sign releases, so HIPAA is out the way. And I used to see cases where it's like, oh, this mother took medicine for depression 10 years ago, so now all of a sudden she's labeled with having mental health issues. Really? And defects is using that as a reason not to get.
It's like the criminal system. It's like, oh, you went to juvenile at 12 and I know you're a 49-year-old killer.
Yep. So like certain things I'm just very cautious about, like medical record, just all that type of stuff, just because like I've seen how the system has used that stuff that shouldn't be seen as something negative if God forbid I get into a situation like that.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's one of the things. That's why they say once you're in the system, they own you for the rest of your life. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to deal with like immigration? Or is that like
immigration?
Like immigration, like is that qualify under that type of court?
So yeah, because I've had a Hispanic client whose kids were taken. I can't remember what happened with that. I want to say it might have been a physical abuse case, but that was difficult. Oh, then they discovered that the mother had drug issues, and so they wanted her to go to rehab, but a lot of that she was afraid to do certain things because and a lot of times I think I did have another one where the child had got hurt, and the mom was afraid to take the baby to the hospital because she was afraid they were going to ask for papers and that she would be deported. So yeah, it's been a couple times where I've had to deal with those types of issues.
Oh Lord, I don't know how you sleep at night.
Yeah.
It just seemed like I mean, obviously, I'm sure when you got into the field, you knew what you probably could expect. But I mean, I don't even like dealing with customer service, let alone fighting for families. I can't.
It's crazy. I've had clients that have passed away.
Like during the trial?
Well, I've had one that was during. One of them, it's been a lot. One of them, and it's funny, you remember the girl from Black? Is that the group? The group Black?
Yeah.
So yeah, the one that passed away, she was my client. And it's crazy because when I first started, I used to do cases that were called educational neglect. And so if you don't send your baby to school, or if you got constant tardies, the school social worker usually would call the court. They changed the law. So the process was they would call the court and they would file a complaint against the parent for the child having too many absences. So I used to represent those parents. And so she was one of those. And she used to tell me, so, we meet them, you have to go through the information. So I'm like, I have to ask who the father is. And so she was like, yeah, he's a rapper. And, I used to be a singer. And so I'm like, girl, okay. Because I've had clients who mental health they have said stuff like that. And you'd be like, I work for the FBI. And you'd be like, okay, man, whatever. So I'm just writing. And so I represented her, case closed. She ended up she got it together, was sending a little boy to school. And then when she died and they said her real name, I was like,
oh my God, her name was what, Natina?
Natina Reed. Yeah, I was like, that was her. Like that, she was telling me the truth all that time. Wow. And then when I look back at the file of the name of the father, I realized that was Corrupt's real name. And I was like, oh wow.
You never knew. They lived in Atlanta?
She did. I think he lived in California, but she lived here, yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. So do you have to see these people face to face?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, obviously, I'm thinking because I know you mentioned that it was transactional, so I wasn't sure if it was like, let me just submit.
No. That was what I wanted to do, was transactional, and I ended up no. I saw them.
Oh Lord. So now that we're in quarantine, like how does the courts is closed, right?
Yes. So they're still technically open for only emergency hearings. But luckily I'm not really considered essential. So with my new job, mainly my job now is going to schools to do these like school meetings, IEP meetings and stuff like that. And so schools are closed. And so right now, although I've had a coworker that says she has done some virtual meetings, but yeah, no, I'm really actually just kind of chilling every day. Like I'll have a conference call like maybe twice out of the week that may last like an hour. One of them will usually last like 2 hours, but yeah, for the most part, not really.
Wow.
And your job is pretty secure. I mean, I guess they do need you. Like this is not something.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I was thinking that too. I was like, because my supervisor called a meeting, and I was like, she about to lay us off. Like, what the hell?
Every time I get an email from HR, I'm like, here we go. Let me check my savings.
I know, but I mean, because the job that schools will still be a thing. And so I can't imagine that there wouldn't be a need for this position. Because especially after this and this virtual learning, I feel like these kids gonna need us more than ever. Because you gotta think, these kids with special needs that were in small classes, they at home doing online learning, and
if the parents are doing it, because the parents don't know how to teach them.
I got a call from a parent last week that just told me the child ain't got no laptop. And I'm like, ma'am, y'all been doing virtual learning for a month. Why?
So what do they do for them? Because a lot of these students don't have computers. So how are they going?
They gave away, like APS and Fulton both had like, just come pick up a laptop. They giving out laptops and hotspots. So there was no reason for
some folks probably sell the computers.
Anybody to not get one. But this particular client, she's transient. So she's always from place to place. So she somehow, the child had just got enrolled at South Atlanta right before the shutdown happened. So she never even got a chance to start school. She was supposed to start like that Tuesday. Everything was shut down.
Oh, wow.
The mom was like, she kept going to school to get a laptop. Nobody was there. So she missed the deadline. But I sent an email. So I have to interact with the school attorney. So I just let them know they put her on some sort of like tech support waiting list. But I'm like, at this point, it's been school almost over.
And they probably going to end up having a passer just because it's
I know. And so I have a friend that's a teacher at Doug. And so she said that K through 8, pretty much, they just going to pass all them kids on. But high school, like, they're like, the virtual learner really matters. So if you're not doing the work, you will be getting a 0.
Well, so I think in high school, they definitely old enough to know better. So it's a little bit different. They a little bit.
And y'all use the internet for everything else. So
y'all making TikToks.
Exactly.
That is so crazy. This is like enlightening for me. I just never knew like what a day in the life of an attorney was.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I'm definitely in the now trust me, because I have friends that have their own firms. Now they grinding still.
Yeah.
I just am fortunate because even if I was still doing the defects work, I would have had my old coworkers, they're like on a rotation. So they still, because they have to do, when a baby is taken by defects by law, they have to go before, the parent has a right to go before a judge within 72 hours. So they still have to do that. You can't take somebody's baby and be like, sorry, we shut down.
You gotta wait till.
So yeah. So all of those attorneys are on like a rotation. So they all have to go. Like, I think they probably end up all going once every 2 weeks. But if I was still doing that, I would have still had to been going to the courthouse, you know, whenever my turn got called to do those hearings. But with this position, you know, I've gone to work just to go pick up stuff out of my office, but you know, I'm literally chilling.
Maybe I should go to law school, and I'll just like.
I always thought that if I weren't a makeup artist, what would I would have went to school for? Now, the only thing that I would have thought is psychology. I like psychology.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they need you out there in the law field. So
me or her?
They need somebody with psychology background. You might have to help. You might have to with dependency.
Yeah, because I would have to subpoena psychologists to back me up. Yeah.
Okay.
You can still do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them get contracts, because a lot of them kids in defects custody, most of them get individual therapy. So a lot of psychologists contract with defects to provide them services.
I definitely was highly interested in that. I even had a client that was a psychologist, and she was helping me. She would call me all the time to make sure that I was still interested in it, because she was going to try to help me get into some type of program so that way I could get a degree in psychology. But I don't.
You should do that.
But yeah, here's the thing. I really wanted to do it, but see, since I'm a makeup artist, I wanted to be able to make a lot of money in my field that I'm in now, because I really enjoy it. So that's when I first started getting into TV and film makeup. Mm-hmm. And so this type of field is like one of those things. It's Hollywood. These people don't give a fuck about you. So once you in that door, you need to hang on that door real hard, because I promise you miss 1 day, 1 or 2 days, oh, I'm busy, I gotta do this, da 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 da. Like, I literally be having to close my book sometimes just for an hour of work, because I want to keep my relationship with these people.
Wow.
So I can't, once I got in that door, I was just like, oh no, we're gonna put
psychology. What that?
We're gonna have to put it on pause.
Yeah, that ain't going nowhere. When I was in law school, I had a 60-year-old man in my class that was like a doctor, like an MD, and he was tired of doing that and decided to go to law school. So yeah, you ain't never too old to go to school.
Yeah. No. I definitely, I maybe in 5 years.
Did you ever think about doing something else, Rita, or you always wanted to be an attorney?
No, this was it. Yeah. This since from what earliest I can remember is probably high school. This was, what I wanted to do. And even now I couldn't imagine doing anything. I mean, the only thing would be something in the entertainment field, but I feel like I would still be doing this on the side.
Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
St. Pius.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
You fancy.
So we was on financial aid though. We was on financial aid.
Okay, that means you still gotta pay for it. To me,
my little cousin go to St. Pius.
Oh, really? Is it a boy or girl? They like it? They've been having some issues this year with.
He's on the football team, so I think that plays a big part in it. He's been on the football team.
Oh yeah,
he's
good.
You fancy. Do you feel like even I guess my biggest all my questions was mostly around the dependency court. Do you feel like those cases are gonna be like those kids are probably in worse off positions right now because they can't, unless it's an emergency, they can't really nobody's looking out for them right now. They can't really handle no cases.
So you mean the kids are still at home with their parents, or the one that went into defects custody?
Oh, I guess you're right. It's the ones in defects custody. Never mind.
Yeah. So I feel like that situation is kind of weird too, because I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like those kids are kind of, because the I think the caseworkers for defects, they're not really doing what they would normally do. They normally have to go out to the foster homes to check on them kids, certain number of contacts they have to make per month. And I don't think they're doing that because they don't want to be going into people's houses. So I'm like, God forbid that a child was taken from their parent, put in a foster home with a shitty parent, because that happens a lot too. And nobody's really kind of watching over that child. And then these parents aren't really getting visits. So they're supposed to, by law, your child get taken by defects, they have to provide you with visitation with your child. So from my understanding, they're only doing virtual. So a lot of these imagine your newborn baby just got taken, and now you just got to look at your baby on FaceTime. Like, they can't talk to you.
Oh,
so, yeah,
Lord.
this whole thing is
baby's just looking like, why are these lights on?
Mama just talking to the phone, like, the foster parent probably sitting there like, okay, I'm ready to go. So, yeah, I can only imagine,
it's
like.
not funny. I'm sorry. I'm just
This is not the time for people to be, but I imagine some of it probably slowed down because I think a lot of cases come from schools. Like, teachers are mandated reporters. So if your teachers see you with a black eye, they call them defects.
You know what?
You ain't going to school, so.
I recently learned that. I heard that CPS calls have lowered because teachers were the ones who were making the calls. I remember in kindergarten, it was this little boy. I'll never forget, and I always think this what happened to him. He came to school and they had a bunch of like whip marks, like he got a whooping. And I knew that's what it was because I used to get them myself. You know what I'm saying? But I remember the teacher was like saying, she was just like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. One day, some people came and got him out of class, and I never seen him again. I was like, I already know what happened. This was kindergarten, but I remember thinking like, dang.
Dang.
I hope you're all right. So what you been doing like while you been in quarantine? I mean, you ain't been working. I know you've been working out.
Yeah, I work out. I got to do my fitness.
What ways?
What kind of workout you be doing?
So it's a gym called Effect Fitness. It's a bunch of crazy people, boot camp classes. And so they've been doing, initially when it started, because I stopped going to the gym before they shut down because I was just like, it's a lot of sweat up in there. So they have on demand where you can pay like $10 and get access for the week. So I did that the first couple weeks, but then they started going live on Instagram. And so, Missy been in there. It shit done got super popular. Like,
people all over the country. People I know who don't live in Atlanta been
watching. So I do that. I watch a lot of I love TV. That's why a lot of this hadn't really bothered me because my dream day is to be sitting at home in the bed watching TV anyway. And so that's what I've been doing. Netflix. I mean, I made a little quarantine and chill list. So I just been going through those, checking stuff off. During the work week, I make sure I have my work phone next to me so that if an email comes, I can answer it, or if a call comes. But basically I just been chilling, watching TV and homeschooling my child in between.
Has that been hard? Like homeschooling? She's a big girl though. At least she's
I'm just thankful this happened when she's very independent. I guess because
you got a smart kid,
only child, and so I mean she'll come ask me questions, but her teacher started doing Zoom meetings every day, which has helped because then she'll explain what they're supposed to be doing. But I mean for the most part, she's sitting there do what she got to do, and then when she finished, she comes give it to me, and I email it to the teacher.
There you go. Yeah, I can tell you got a real smart kid. She grown. I remember you was pregnant. That's crazy.
I know.
For real. Okay, so you have a podcast. I want to make sure you shout out all your stuff that you got.
Yes. So I have a music blog and podcast. It's called Irked Music Geek, IRKED. And it's basically just me talking shit about music. I've always been a huge music lover and music fan. And I just got tired of reading these blogs that just be hyping up the same artists that be whack as hell. And, just felt like a lot of these record labels and people in the industry would like pay these blogs and these websites to talk about certain people and to say their music sound good when it don't. So, I like to think that my platform is like just an honest opinion about what the music sounds like. I do, music is subjective, so obviously everybody will feel differently about it, but I just feel like it's a place where you can come to one, because I used to get tired of hearing my friends, like when I go out places, and they like, how you know that song? Or how you know? I'm like, y'all need to get with it. So it's
I definitely discover music from your podcast.
Come to the website so you can figure out what's the new music that's out here. And then I just tell what I think about it. And so I feel like I talk better than I write. So that's why I started doing the podcast, because it's just easier for me to talk about it than just to write about it all the time.
Yeah, and you be on film.
I write better than I can talk.
Yeah.
I do both very well.
Oh.
Whoa. Believe you.
It's irkmusicgeek.com. And it's on pretty much all the big social media platforms under the same @IrkMusicGeek.
I'm gonna tag it on the
Oh, okay, thank you. But just check it out. It's an Instagram page. If you want to write a comment, say you disagree with my opinion, that's cool. I like to argue about music too. So
I don't.
Well, all right. Do you have more questions for her, Draco?
I don't. I actually didn't even really know too much about your job description, about like what you did. So I think that you explained it very well. I'll be feeling bad for these kids. I probably need to send you a few clients. But that's another topic.
I can only imagine what you be seeing in them houses.
I didn't know either. I mean, I live like when you tweet about certain stuff, I'm like, I can't imagine the type of stuff she be saying.
Hey, let me see the Twitter, Rita. What's your Twitter?
All right, then. I was about to call you Tia. All right, then, Rita. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Rita.
Thank y'all. Y'all stay safe out here in these streets, man.
Please, you
listen.
too.